Hello, everyone. If you haven't checked out clicked on the link for the book Arrow to the Sun, it's one of my favorite books. And as you look through the book, you see some of the characters in the story, like the kid in the story. And I like how the illustrator, McDermott, Gerald McDermott, I liked how he drew the character, and it has all of these neat symbols, like the symbol for the sun. It's got rectangles, it's got zigzag lines. These are things we have learned by learning the elements of art, like using lines. And then it shows the kid becoming the arrow so that the arrow maker can send him back to the sun. And then as he goes through the chambers, the different kivas, which is a Pueblo word for like a room or a room in a house or a home. He then comes out of the lightning, and he's transformed, and he's full of these really bright and vivid colors. And then of course, then he comes back, sends him back to Earth, and they have the celebration, the dance of life. It's a huge celebration. And I noticed that all of the other characters in the story has also changed. So the Native Americans wouldn't have read this book because printed material wasn't in their in that time when they lived, and passing on these stories. And so in today's time, of course, they can pass on these stories by books and illustrations, and also by word of mouth. And so they would have actually created and carved and sculpted some of these characters for these stories. And this is a Kachina that was given to me. It was made by objects that you probably have at home. You can't really tell, but this was actually a toilet paper tube, and they cut two slits and created legs. They wrapped the legs in fabric. They covered the toilet paper tube with yarn. They used pipe cleaners for arms. If you can get a good look, the hands, the claw of my wolf, is actually macaroni noodles. They used a piece of cardboard for the bottom to put it together. They used construction paper, brown and green, to make the grass. They just sort of bent that and put a little glue there. And then they used another part of a toilet paper tube and made that for the head. And then they cut out these shapes, similar to a wolf. This could also be a rabbit with big sharp ears. But then they drew the face on. And so you can actually sculpt, find materials at home, recycled objects. You can use maybe even sticks and tree limbs if you wrap some of those with yarn, because that may not be the easiest thing to paint or draw on, but you can cover the material with either scrap pieces of fabric, paper, construction paper, newspapers, magazines, just whatever your parents may be getting ready to throw away. You might actually use that and create your own Kachina doll. And I think that would be really, really cool. And if you do create a Kachina doll using found objects and materials, send me a picture of it, because I think that would be really, really cool to see how you would solve those problems in creating a character that you make up your own story. It'd be neat to make your own Kachina using found objects. And that's what the Native Americans would have done. They would have used the materials they would have in their surroundings. Now, if you're at home and you can't find any recycled materials and you'd like to maybe draw a Kachina doll, I'm going to make up one, and I'm going to sort of go through the steps with you, and you can sort of draw one, and you can create a story that way as well. What I have was that my little bear, or my little wolf character right there. So what I'm using is, I'm just going to use a plain sheet of white paper. It could be any size, it could be even any color. And I'm going to use a black crayon, and I'm just going to talk you guys through the basic parts of drawing or sketching out a Kachina. The first thing I'd start off with would be the head. Now, if I'm not really sure, I don't press very hard with the crayon. Of course, you might use a pencil as well, or a marker. You can anything to draw with. But since I can't erase my crayon, I might draw really, really light, or I can press down really hard. Think about what shape you want the head. It could be a circle, it could be a square, it could be a triangle. It could be any basic shape. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to draw a circle. Okay. Then the next part will be, what shape do you want the body? And most Kachina dolls I have seen, because they're actually carved out of wood, and I think it's actually a root of one of the trees that grows in the southwest area. It's very cylinder-like, and so if I wanted to make a rectangle, that would actually be a good shape to start with. And the Kachinas will be standing, and you can make the decision: do you want the Kachina to stand on both feet, or do you want to have one foot up like it's dancing? And so I will show you sort of both. If I'm going to draw a leg, I would draw the number 11. And if I was going to make it dancing, or like it's walking, or the knee is bent, and then it's sort of like the letter L. So I come down and sort of give it a little bend. So then what we do is we think about the feet, and usually it's just a half circle up, and then a straight line on the bottom. And if the foot is bent, again, I'm going to draw half of a circle, and then if you have a little bit left over, you can always draw the other part of that. The arms. Now think about if the arms could be holding something. I think it's really neat when because it also gives us insight on the character. So to make the arms, I'm going to come. Oh, broke my crayon. That happens a lot. Now I got two crayons. I'm going to come diagonal, diagonal. And if you wanted to make a bend, I'm going to make it horizontal, horizontal. And then I'm going to close it off. Now to make a hand, now keep it in mind, the Kachina dolls are carved, and so they don't do a lot of details like, I wouldn't draw all of the fingers. I would just probably draw a circle for the hand. And if that hand is holding something, so maybe it's holding a staff, could be a rain stick. So notice how I draw the rectangle, and it goes behind the hand or behind the circle, and that gives you the illusion that the hand is wrapped around the object. And for the other arm, I'm going to do two diagonals, and then if the arm is bent, and then I can close that off, put a circle or an oval at the end. Right now it looks just like a normal person, so it's how we decorate it that's going to make it look like a really, really cool Kachina. I noticed that a lot of the sun symbols, or the symbols and characteristics of a sun face, is going to be rectangle eyes. I'm going to color that in. Rectangle eye. And a lot of times they would make a triangle, and it could be for the mouth or it could be for the nose. But they'll use this. And to maybe make it to represent the sun, what could I use to create the rays of the sun? And so they might have actually used feathers. So if I was going to make a feather, I'm going to draw a line out, and then I draw a curve, and then I draw the other side of the curve. It's like a pointy oval, and I might do that all the way around. It looks interesting just with the lines. Then I curve up that side. Now, I have seen headdresses, if you look at the arrow to the sun, it's got a lot of squares and rectangles and zigzags. A lot of times, if you see it looks like a square, but it's got a zigzag on one corner. That's usually representing mountains. So I think of it as like a stair steps going up a mountain. I'm going to put one behind the shoulder. Now, if you want, you could even add more of feathers in between them. I'll do one right here, where I'm just going to draw a line in between the two feathers, and then just make the point. I won't have to draw the back side. It would be a really big headdress with all of these cool feathers. Now, some of these headdresses are huge, and they have, like I said, arrows and different things pointing up. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put an arrow sticking out, and then I can draw a triangle, and then what if a triangle is behind that triangle? Maybe I'm going to do two, because I have room right here. I could add a feather, or I could add an arrow. Now, decorate the body. Keep in mind they would use leather, they would use feathers, they would use fabric, they would even also paint symbols and designs. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a square, and then I'm going to make it rectangle. And you can just make up your symbols and designs. It may have special meaning to you. Or part of it if you're trying to tell a story. I am drawing the symbol for the sun that was actually on the character from the arrow to the sun. I don't think I'm going to be able to squeeze everything on, but you can sort of mix and change it. Zigzag line there. You can even create designs on the legs. That's a little harder to draw with that being bent. Maybe designs on the arms. Feel free to create this however you want. Oh, and I forgot to put, I was going to put an arrow on the end of my staff. I might have room to put that over there. And then maybe has feathers off of the staff. So now, have fun sort of coloring it in, decorating the background, adding any kind of other details that you may like. Have fun with this. And again, if you want to do some more research and look up stories about kachinas, I have some video links that shows you how they're made. But just have fun. Have fun drawing this. So I'm going to fast forward as I color so that you can see how I may finish. I'm going to even draw some of the background. Well, there you go, boys and girls. Hope you enjoyed drawing kachinas. Like I said, you can actually sculpt one. This is my wolf friend, or you can draw your own. And so I hope you enjoyed the project.